Hello and welcome to another edition of the Focus Show. I'm your host, Bishop Dunn. Today I'm welcomed by a very special guest, Mr. Lucas Brown, the Athletic Director of Warwick High School. So, Mr. Brown, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
That's good. So my first question is, what made you become the Athletic Director?
I think I started out coaching and seeing how an athletic director kind of can affect a whole school program in a positive way. Really kind of drew me into it.
Okay. So you say you started off coaching. How was that? Like, what teams, what sports did you coach?
I started off coaching football, indoor track, outdoor track. I coached swim one year because we didn't have a swim coach. So just a variety of different sports. Yeah.
How was that become like the swim coach? How was that?
I was at York High School at the time. I was just I was actually in college, and it was the right before winter season. Our athletic director who'd been there a long time was desperate for a coach right before the season, and I had just come out of football season, and he said, "Do you know how to swim?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're our new swim coach." So I did varsity boys and girls swim at York for 1 year, and faked it through the season, and the kids had a good time. And but most of it's just being organized and stuff. Luckily, in swim, anyways, the kids are getting a lot of times they're swimming somewhere else, anyways. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you like most about your job?
Just every day is different, pretty much. It allows you the flexibility and the freedom to kind of approach each day differently. You're going to have some secretary, like some clerical work that you need to get done, and then some administrative work. But also, it's a lot of, talking to the coaches, interacting with officials, talking to parents, and you just never know what each day is going to bring.
Okay. Can you get what's like one thing that you do for your job like nobody would think you would nobody notices?
Probably the amount of clerical work that we do. There's a large portion of our job that takes place just sitting behind a desk on a computer. We get a couple hundred emails a day that we have to interact with physically and route to the right person. And a lot of people see us out at games and they think, all right, well, that'd be a cool job. You just watch games. And really, by the time you get to go to a game, you've already done so much work on the back end and then you're working at the game most of the time, so you actually don't get to sit down and watch very often. That's actually a very small portion of the job, is actually getting to watch sports. You do spend a large portion of it at events, but even then you're working, you're worried about what's going on at the ticket seller and the officials and the coaches and the other team, and you got visiting teams showing up. So it's a lot going on that people just don't really see or know about from that, looking at it from the outside.
Okay. My next question is, what direction do you see taking Warwick athletics to? Because I know like I said, you do a lot for Warwick High School sports. So I want to ask, what direction do you see yourself taking Warwick athletics to?
Absolutely. I would say a positive direction, hopefully. We want to increase participation. We had especially a few girls' sports programs that we really need to increase participation in. We're working very hard on that. But other than that, it's really just more about trying to improve, the processes that are in place and always trying to take those to the next level as far as communication and organization and things like that go, and just try to help our kids achieve as much success as we can.
Okay. My next question is, can you explain the difficulty of your job?
I would say the difficulty of it is kind of maintaining a balance of all those different things, because it's very easy to sit down at your desk in the morning and never run out of things to do at your desk, and then but if you're doing all the clerical work all day, then you've lost a lot of the other logistical aspects of the position, where you have to be out looking at fields and checking field conditions and on the phone with officials and things like that. So I would say the difficulty is balancing everything, and then you balance that with your home life if you have a family and kids. And like in my situation, my sons are older; they have their own sports going on, so I'm trying to be supportive of their sports while giving Warwick athletics all I can give. You know what I mean? So that's probably the hardest part, is the balance. Yeah.
Okay, you say you checking the fields. What's that like?
It's a surprise every day. We've got some fields that we maintain. We've got some fields that Parks and Rec maintains. We've got some fields that, like Todd Stadium, that the school division maintains. So, and especially at Warwick, we're in a unique position where we don't have any fields really on campus, and no competition fields except for our baseball field. So we go to Riverside Elementary to play softball. We go to Hines Middle to play soccer, and especially in the spring. So that's what I'm in the middle of now. So it's it's definitely a challenge to make sure all those facilities are in the condition and the upkeep that they need to be on a daily basis. Luckily, I have a great group of coaches, and we work really well with Parks and Rec to make sure that they are ready. So, yep.
Has there ever been like a situation where like you would talk to an official and like it ever became like some difficult to where he's not hearing your side and like he's saying stuff that you think he's wrong about? Has there ever been like something like that?
Not an official. I mean, officials interact with the coaches during the games.
Mm-hmm.
As athletic directors, we don't typically interact with the officials during the games. We talk to them quite a bit before and in the middle and then at the end, when we're helping them get into a room to change or something like that, especially like during basketball. But, I do quite a bit of communicating with the commissioners of the officials and the assigners that do the scheduling rather than the actual individual officials. But I've been doing this 10 years. And I know all those guys, so we have a great relationship. But I can't think of, as long as you approach any discussion with any official, parent, coach, anybody in like a respectful, professional way, then there's never really there's going to be times you don't see eye to eye, but you got to be professional and courteous and respectful with each other. So
okay, we'll have more with Mr. Brown when we come back after this commercial break.
And welcome back to the Virginia High School 1600 meter state championship. As we get back to the action, we see Miles Monpoint is gaining on Antonio Boyd for the first place finish. Oh! Miles Monpoint just tripped Antonio Boyd.
But Trayvon is helping him up right now.
Trayvon is helping him up as Trayvon just sacrificed his third place finish to help out Antonio Boyd.
Yeah, that right there is kindness and excellent sportsmanship right there by Trayvon.
Are you okay?
Welcome back to the Focus Show. I'm your host, Bishop Dunn, alongside my special guest, Mr. Lucas Brown, the Athletic Director of Warwick. So, Mr. Brown, I want to ask you, how did it feel to win Athletic Director of the Year?
That's definitely a big honor. It felt good. I mean, it's nice to always be nice to it's always nice to be recognized for doing a good job. So,
okay, can you tell me like, how was the process? Like, what made you stand out from everybody?
As far as the process goes, so that award came from our professional organization, the VIAAA is what it is. Mm-hmm. And that's made up of athletic directors, not just current, but also past. And so it's their board, which is a lot of athletic directors that have been in the business for a very long time. They kind of select out of, well, first you have to be nominated by your region, and then there's a pool of athletic directors from all 24 regions in the state, and they select from those nominees.
Okay, so what were some of the things that like you had to do to win Athletic Director of the Year? Like, well, that's basically the same question I just asked you, but what made you stand out? But like, what were like some things that people like?
I gotcha. Yeah. It's not really specific stuff. I mean, the number one thing you have to do is stay in the profession long enough, right? Okay. Like, we've got there's a tremendous amount of burnout in the athletic administration profession. A lot of athletic directors get into it, only stay for a year or two because of the workload that comes with it. So, that's one way to separate yourself right there, is just by surviving essentially long enough. But also it's, doing your job at a high level and being able to show that you can mentor and manage others in your field. So I currently am the Peninsula District Chairperson for the ADs. I'm the Region 5B Chairperson, and I serve on the VHSL Executive Committee, which both of those are things that you have to be kind of selected to do by your own peers, so by your district, by your region. And so I think once they see that you're kind of in that role, then that shows them that you know how to kind of lead people and mentor people in the profession. So
how's it being on a VHSL selective committee?
The executive committee, it's exciting. It's definitely rewarding. It is, sometimes it's a little bit challenging just because of the legislate. It's the body that kind of sees all the legislation and does the kind of the formal approving, disapproving of legislation, stuff like that. So as things move through, sometimes there's controversial legislation. Sometimes it's just, clerical edits to the handbook or things like that. But it's the body that, and we don't do it just by ourselves. We're selected by our region. So there's one person from each region on the committee. So you represent your region. And I'm lucky enough to represent Region 5B, which includes, 5 schools from the Peninsula District. We've got 3 schools in Norfolk and 2 schools in Suffolk. So.
Okay. My next question is, if you weren't an athletic director, what do you think your profession would have been?
Gosh, I don't know. I'd either still be coaching and teaching, or I'd be, but if I was out of education altogether, I'd probably be, I like to talk to people. I like to move around. I like to be, on the road visiting different people. I'd probably be in some sort of sales capacity, because that's a job where you get the freedom to kind of move around and you're doing a lot of talking to people. And we do have there's a lot of sales and marketing that go into the athletic side, as you've seen all around the country. I mean, you've got to try to build your brand and make that product attractive and stuff like that. So I would see myself in that field.
So what have you learned from being the athletic director over these years?
Oh, just everything that we've talked about. I've learned how to be organized, how to communicate with a lot of different groups that need a lot of different forms of communication. I mean, that's from coaches to officials to parents, how to multitask more than anything, because you're constantly doing, 5 or more things at once, and really just how to manage time and be organized, I would say.
What advice would you give somebody who wants to be an athletic director?
I would advise them to probably go to their athletic director at their high school and try to shadow them for some period of time or be an intern for them, because then you really get to see kind of behind the scenes a lot of the work that isn't just what people perceive as watching games. You know what I mean? So.
All right. That's all we have today. I would like to thank my guest, Mr. Lucas Brown, for taking time out of his day, because I know during these questions, you said you are a very busy person. So thank you for taking time out your day to come in here. That's all we have today. I'm your host, Bishop Dunn. See you the next time on another edition of The Focus Show.